Okay, well, happy Tuesday morning to you all. I'm going to do another Cub commute today down to the Sugarland area, and then I have to go all the way over to the south side of downtown Houston. So that'll be quite a little trek for the Cub, but I've done it before on this. Actually, the exact same route I've done before on this bike. Roads are a little rough on the south side of downtown Houston, but it'll be okay. So, where have we left off? I did the 15-tooth front sprocket upgrade on this, and I have mixed feelings on it. It does lower the cruising RPM, and all of the lower gears seem to pull better, harder. I don't know about harder, but better, longer. Let's put it that way. So the lower three gears are more usable in town, I think. The top gear is the one that suffers a bit. It just doesn't have quite enough power to pull the higher ratio past 55 miles an hour, or maybe barely 60, but it can't break through 60, or at least it couldn't in my testing. I've got about 200 miles on the clock now since I did that change, and fuel economy has gone up significantly. For the mixed route that I normally do, a little bit of highway or fast access roads and surface streets, I was averaging around 130, and it has jumped up to an adjusted 145 or 147 over the same route. So that's pretty significant. I'll run a few more tanks through it like this and see if it changes, or if that's about it. Try to get a good average value out of it. But I don't know, for longer highway trips, as long as I'm staying under 55, then this might be okay. If I want to go any faster than that, even in short spurts, then I have to drop down to the 14 tooth again. What else? The short Asahi windscreen, I think. I still can't pronounce it right. I apologize to anybody that speaks Japanese because I'm butchering that word, but it means morning sun. So this does break up the wind across my chest. I can feel the wind load terminating right about the top of my chest, just below my shoulder area. So that leaves my helmet up in the clear. That's a good thing, because you don't want buffeting right up at your helmet terminus right here, where your chin is going to be getting knocked around and all that. That's very annoying, not to mention the noise. So that's good. And then the next update on the whole Givi windscreen saga, I got a refund from eBay because I said that I just, I never got the screen. It's been almost 7 weeks now. Well, it turns out that the shipper used Italian Post. Italian Post handed it off to the wonderful United States Postal Service, and that's where the ball got dropped. They never tried to deliver it to my house. They said that they made a delivery attempt and nobody was home. No, there's always somebody home. They didn't leave a call slip, nothing. So I had no indication that the screen had been, attempted to be delivered or was waiting here in the States. Or at my post office, rather. So it just sat there for 5.5, 6 weeks, whatever. Finally, after the dispute, the seller from Italy updated the tracking information, 7 weeks, 6 weeks later, whatever. And I saw the tracking information, and it said that it was going to be turned back around or was waiting at the post office. So I went over there and checked. Now, mind you, this is after eBay has already refunded my money, so I'll have to sort that out. Anyway, I went over to the post office, and they had to dig around for a while, but they found the box. So I do have the second screen now, complete with the mounting kit, and inspector number 70 has somewhat redeemed himself, because that bag with the miscellaneous little parts and grommets has the tag inspector number 70 in it. I have not opened it yet, but I did visually verify that all the pieces were there. Goody goody. So I'll do a comparo on this screen versus the Givi and see how I like it. It is considerably taller. And as Martin Lynch from the UK, one of my commenters and subscribers, he said he's got it on his, and he said it looks a little old man. I get that. Probably does. It's not a very sleek design, so we'll see how it works. He also mentioned that he notices a lot of buffeting with his, because it probably terminates out about right here, and that would be right where your helmet's going to get knocked around. So, I don't know. I'll see how it works for me. If it doesn't work, then hey, just leave this one on there. Or take them both off, I don't know. I really only need it for longer cruising, highway trips, that sort of thing. These kind of speeds right here, 45, 50, it's not that big a deal. You know, the wind load pushing on your chest isn't obnoxious. It's not, you know, really tiring. It's when you're out on the highway doing 50 plus for, you know, long stretches that, you know, constantly feeling like you have to grip the bars to hang on. That's annoying. It just gets tiring. I can't think of what else is going on in Cubland. That's pretty much it for me. I'm still searching for a good pannier solution. My Timbuktu panniers that I had modified, I still haven't posted that video yet. They don't fit well with these rear supports that I bought. I purchased these through WeBike in Japan, and they're just too short height-wise to support those bags properly. So I'll either need to make my own supports or find different bags. And I went shopping around and I found some very attractive retro-styled bags from SW Motec, the LS1 and LS2 series. But ooh, Jesus, those things are expensive. $280 per bag. Then you have to buy the mounting yoke and everything else. So you're looking at a $600 set. That's too much for the back of the Cub. And that's without adding the top bag. So I'll probably go a different route. I'll end up with some of the I don't know. There were 2 or 3 that I was looking at. I think Climb had some. There were 2 or 3 brands that looked good, but it's a quest. And on a totally unrelated note, not related to commuting, but more related to my profession and what's going on this morning with one of my customers, poor guys. The world of malware and crypto bots and you know, crypto lockers and extortion and ransomware and all that good stuff. It's becoming a huge problem over the last couple years, and it's just continuing to get worse. I've had quite a few customers get hit with it. Most of them, including this customer down here, we have multiple levels of backups, so it's not devastating. Let me qualify that. It's not devastating to them because they haven't lost the data. They still have it. It's just going to be hard to get at because they have to restore everything. So my advice to anyone, whether you're a home user or a business, be absolutely sure that you have an ironclad backup routine, because the only smart way to deal with these crypto viruses and ransomware bugs is don't pay the ransom. And the only way that you can get away with not paying the ransom is by flushing your system. Just start over. And my posture on it is always the same. Do a fresh install. Wipe the machine completely out. Don't try to clean it and keep using it in situ, because there could be remnants of that bad boy left behind that are just going to step in and, you know, mess up your day all over again the next day or a week later or a month later, whatever. So it's never safe to leave the system intact. You always want to wipe it out and then restore everything back to a point before the infection. So long story short, or coming back full circle, that's what I'm going to do this morning. I have a customer that got hit with a spear phishing email. It hit 4 of their upper level people in accounting and finance, and they all opened the file. It was an attachment or a link, I'm not sure what. So we know 4 for sure, and 2 other potentials that have been hit by this. And these bugs are getting more intelligent every iteration, because the bad guys are getting paid, so they have the tools and the resources and the incentive to write bigger, badder, meaner bugs. Don't pay them. What these things do now is, first order of operation, once they compromise a machine, is they enumerate all network shares or mapped drives or UNC paths, whatever we're going to call it, and they're going after the network data first, because they know that's where the high-value targets are. They don't care about the local machines anymore. They just use the machine as a launching pad, and they go after all your files on your network. And the new twist on this is they'll check the user permissions to see if the user has access to hidden in system folder, system level information, most specifically shadow copies or previous versions of files that live on the file system. Normally that's handled by your servers. Administrators will set up backup snapshot copies on the file system using shadow copy. If that user has access to those, that is the very first thing that gets deleted. So the system or the bug will go out and delete all of the shadow copies. So you don't have in situ restore points that you can go back to recover from the bug, because they want to make sure that they can lock up your data and make you pay for it. So that's what happened in this case. We had some incorrect permissions set on a couple of the shares, or users rather. They had access to the root of the drive instead of the shares themselves. So the bug went out and nuked all their shadow copies, and now they're left with restoring terabytes of data from backups, and that's painful. It can be done, but it's painful. Just the RTO on it is very, very long. So I'm going to go babysit this process and make sure that they're not missing something obvious, like users with full wide open permissions to the root of a drive. Oopsie, that's not good. First question was, well, how could this happen? Let me go look at your permissions, see what happened here. I see. Somebody that's a member of the administrators group decided to start adding individuals to the root of the drive instead of to groups on shares. That's how it happened. But these are all learning events. You look for the point of infection, the attack vector, how the bad guys got access, and then you look at the mechanics of what the bug does to learn from it and hopefully build a better mousetrap to catch that guy, or just completely prevent the exploit from happening in the future. And in this case, they were fully antivirused. They had all the malware protection and everything that they should have, but this particular bug was a JavaScript exploit that will run under the user's context for whatever security permissions they have. That's all you can do. And in this case, the users had way more permission than they were supposed to. One other thing I've noticed on the Cub just lately, within the last couple 100 miles, I seem to be getting a lot of stiction on my front forks. So I guess this could be part of my very late 1,000-mile review on the Cub. I'll be sure and put all that together soon, I hope. I didn't notice stiction on the front forks before, but now when I get into the brakes, I feel it very noticeably kind of stick and dip and then bob when I let off. I'm going. So I think I'll probably pull the forks off of this sometime in the near future and refill it with some Bel-Ray synthetic. I'll probably get the 10 weight. 15 weight might be a little thick for this guy. I think it comes with 10 weight in it. I like the Bel-Ray synthetic because it's got very low stiction. It's very slippery. Overall, though, I'm very pleased with the way the Cub rides. The damping is just right. It's not too firm, not too stiff for my riding weight. Again, I'm a short guy. I'm 5'7", about 155 pounds, unloaded, fully geared up. I'm 170. So for my weight, the Cub is sprung just about right. You've only got a little over 3 inches of suspension to work with, so it has to be fairly aggressively damped. Otherwise, you're going to bottom out over every little thing. But the only problem I've noticed with it is just lately with that stiction on the front porch. The rear seems to be damped very well. I'm sure this is, budget dampers all the way around. There's nothing really fancy about this stuff. Non-adjustable, of course. I see a lot of pictures of guys in Japan and the Asian markets where they're tricking these out and putting custom shocks on the rear and all that. I don't know why. I mean, I guess if you're loading up, if you're running with a pillion on there, it might make a difference because over there they have the passenger seat and pegs and all that, so the back of this might bottom out with more weight on it. But all of the aftermarket rear shocks are, you see the coil spring. You don't get to see the those blue shock covers. I kind of like those. They're really classy on this bike. I don't need to see springs back there. If I were to ever upgrade the rears on this, I would try to see if I could do it within those original housings, or at least get that top shock boot on there, blue spring cover. Well, I'll go ahead and shut it down here and rejoin you all after this first stop. Well, good, very late evening, everybody. It is 9:45 at night, 9:56, excuse me, almost 10 o'clock. And I'm still in Sugar Land at my first appointment of the day. So it has been officially 14 hours now straight. I have never left for food, so I'm leaving for food. I'm going to grab a quick bite here and take it back and continue my marathon saga of crypto malware cleanup. This was a doozy. They had a lot of unpatched machines, so it was a target-rich environment, and this particular bug is going after network shares. It's a pretty intelligent bug. It's going after the high-value targets, and every time we would clean something up and start restoring data on the server, we'd look, and there was another machine that was out there encrypting it back up again. Damn it! So we basically shut everything down as far as user-facing and sent everybody home. Said, nope, it's not going to get fixed while everybody's still on the network. So we're doing remediation on 100 PCs right now, roughly. A little less than 100. Some of them are fully patched and happy. But they've all got to be touched and verified. So, yeah, it's basically 100 and some machines, plus the servers and everything else. So it's a full network cleanup. Luckily, we have all the data backed up, so it's not catastrophic. It's just inconvenient, and it's definitely downtime. They're losing money on the employee productivity and lost wages and all the other stuff. But as far as their data, they're still intact. And I am going to have to cheat this. Oh, it's going to detect me. Good. This is one of those red light cameras over here in Sugar Land. I don't want to get busted for something stupid that's not my fault. Oh, goody goody. This is going to be fun. I don't have any bags on the Cub, so I'm just going to go through the drive-thru, get a burger and fry, no drink, and that's it. second gear putter. Oh boy, 10:01. I haven't done a food run on this thing in forever. Well, not true. I guess I did about a week and a half ago. I haven't done a nighttime food run in forever. I think that was the second day I had the bike that I did the Taco Bell run. I'm going to walk it up. Oh, no, I guess I'm not, if it's in gear. See, I can start it in gear. I'll have to do that again in a minute with no brake on, see if it takes it. I didn't turn the camera on in time. Yeah, you can start this thing in gear, no brake needed, no nothing. I was sure that it didn't let me do that on my Taco Bell run that night. I'm gonna have to go back on that video footage and verify. So if there's supposed to be an ignition cut off when it's in gear, it's certainly not working. Alright, well, I'll shut it down again, and hopefully I can get done with this situation before midnight. Otherwise, I might be joining you all at dawn right here from the same place. Alright, well, happy Wednesday morning, all. It is Wednesday morning. It is, it's 12:15 in the morning, and I am just getting done with my first appointment of the day. My only appointment of the day. Ugh. It was a marathon session of round and round, chasing the hen around the yard, trying to figure out what it was doing. We had a series of infections that just kept popping up because of the way this particular bug operates. It's a pretty tricky little monkey. What it does is, once the payload is first executed, it runs a trifecta of bugs. The first one is a well-known banking Trojan bot called TrickyBot. And then it also downloads a variation of a crypto miner, or not crypto miner, a crypto malware bug. And the third one is a password cracker, keylogger, brute force attack against SMB version 1. So through the combination of these three little guys, it very quickly and effectively maps out a network, and it looks for any susceptible machines that have not been patched. Whatever it is, the MS-17-10, I think is what it was, something late 2017. If they've not been patched, then they can be exploited through an escalation of privilege. Once that happens, all hands are, all bets are off. If there's an administrative level account on that machine that happens to be logged in, it jumps to that privilege level, then it starts remapping the network and working outward. And somewhere along this process, they install a reverse shell, and it starts calling out to command and control servers. Once the bad guys are alerted that they've got a hot, juicy target on the hook, they start yanking and playing, and I saw very definite activity that they were in the network. They were active. It was a fight between me and them all day long, chasing from one machine to another, and they kept going after particular accounts and particular targets. So I finally just yanked the rug out from under everything, shut the servers down, shut the accounts down, and said good night to you. Now, that doesn't mean they're completely out of the network. It just means they don't have any teeth to bite right now. They might very well still be hanging around in there just waiting. I'm sure they probably are. If I were the bad guy, I would be. So, yeah, that's the next step, is making sure that all the avenues are closed for their potential threat antics. And I don't think that light is ever going to turn for me. I'm not big enough. The interesting part about this bug is its persistence. After all the cleaning attempts, it keeps coming back on machines that have been isolated. We've got Symantec and Malwarebytes, both full versions, commercial versions on there, and Symantec is not catching this thing. It'll tell you when the machine is trying to get out to a Trojan site, but it's not preventing the Trojan from being installed. And Malwarebytes will come up and flag it again and again and keeps removing it. But whatever the attack vector is still open and it's still happening. We've changed all the passwords, we've locked down all the accounts, nothing has admin privileges. We've turned off all the administrative shares, basically as far as we can lock it down and still be able to log into the silly machine, and the stuff keeps coming. So, I don't know. We've got enough mitigation set up around it to where even if it does kick off, it can't really do anything. But that doesn't give me any warm fuzzies for tomorrow's prognosis. Because the game might change. They might decide to double up their efforts and put a whole new team of programmers on it, and I'm just one guy. We'll see. It's really dangerous to be out here in the middle of the night. Drunk 30, that guy blew the light at 20 miles an hour. Where was the red light camera for him? So anyway, my tomorrow is going to be just as much fun. I already missed a big appointment for today. That I was supposed to have attended a meeting, and I was not there for that meeting. I had to call them and tell them, no, it's not going to happen, not with this. And they graciously said, it's okay. Let's reschedule for tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Shit, man. It's already 12:30 at night. And I got to go back. Oh, well, I guess it keeps me busy, huh? Unfortunately, I haven't seen my kids at all today, and they're probably not going to see me until tomorrow night, because I get up long before they do and hit the road for this kind of stuff. Well, at the very least, it was a lucrative day. Lucrative for me, bad for the customer. And I hate those. It makes me feel guilty. I know they would be in much worse condition if I hadn't been there, though, that's for sure, because they don't know mitigation and containment strategies for stuff like this. They would have been floundering in shallow water for days or weeks on this before they ever got any traction at all. I was able to identify it and somewhat quarantine it right away, and we were making good strides until they kept turning on more machines that were infected, or not patched, I should say, and then immediately getting infected. It's like, damn it, knock it off. And I would see it, I'd see the activity come up on the network and start hitting the servers and call it out and go, nope, that machine's infected. But by the time you see it, this bug is acting so hard and so fast that, the damage is done, man. It's already locking up, gigs and gigs of files. So then you've got to do all the remediation on those files or folders that were damaged. You got to delete the encrypted files, go search for any active encryptor variants, delete everything, then stage your restores, and wait for the next machine to go out there and screw up the same directory or another one right next to it. Come on, man. This one was particularly difficult because they're running a multi-role server. This particular box that's being hit is the domain controller. Here's Drunk 30, guy doing 85 plus. He just missed the back end of me by about a foot intentionally, being a dickhead. You gotta love Houston, especially at Drunk 30 in the morning. Yeah, so this server is a multi-role server. It's the domain controller and the file server. And that's a bad practice, especially in a busy network, because that is one juicy target. This particular bug, that's what it was seeking the whole time, is administrator account or a domain controller. And when it got through the file server, it already had everything it wanted right there. It's been a long time since I've been through here at night. In fact, the last time I came through here at night, I almost got bike jacked until they realized I was carrying. That was a short encounter. Guy jumped out of his car next to me. Yo, MF, give me that damn bike. He was coming at me, had a screwdriver in his hand. I just kicked the side stand down. Pulled the 45, didn't even have to get it 45 degrees out next to me before he shit his pants and went running the other way, and his buddy took off. Dumbass. A screwdriver to a gunfight, not real smart. I've almost been bike jacked, I don't know, half a dozen times. Almost been carjacked 3 times. Every time, quick thinking got me out of the potentially bad situation, and more than half of those times I had to brandish a weapon, and they decided they didn't want any part of that. It just goes to prove the old adage of an armed criminal will take advantage of an unarmed civilian with startling regularity. The only way you stay out of the victim game is to defend yourself. That's another discussion entirely. Has nothing to do with motorcycling or my normal content whatsoever. But I'm rambling and I'm tired, and it is a pertinent topic at the moment, considering the danger of the evening. Carrying a weapon is not for everyone, just like riding a motorcycle is not for everyone. You have to have the right mindset to do it and do it right. Having a law enforcement background in my past, it just kind of second nature for me. I grew up around it, so it wasn't really a big deal, but a lot of people carry a sidearm out of fear, or that what if I need to use it, but they're never really prepared to take that next step. And what I mean by that is if you ever have to draw your weapon or brandish your weapon, you better be ready to use it and not hesitate. It doesn't mean, quick draw and fire. It means you better be ready to follow through with the intention. Because if you're not, the bad guy is probably going to know that right away, and they would just as soon take that weapon from you and kill you with your own gun than walk the other direction. If they smell fear, they're going to use it on you. I've been in the situation 3 times in my life where I have actually had to use the weapon, each time in fear of my life or to protect life and property of others. And that whole question of, could I pull the trigger? A lot of people never get to that point. They never have to face that decision down. And more oftentimes than not, if it comes to it, the people can't pull the trigger. And I've been in that situation multiple times now, and I'm one of those people that can. I have, and I will. I will do it again if I have to. Don't look forward to it. It's certainly not something that I want, but I have no problem exercising that civic duty and protecting myself and my family. You better stop, buddy. Yeah, I've just lived in some fairly rough areas a few times, and just had odd circumstances, I guess, where I've had so many, bike jack and car jack attempts and things like that. A couple of them, 3 of them have happened here in the Texas, Houston area. The other 3 happened in Oklahoma City. Yep, hurry up and stop, genius. One of those things, I guess. I never have to go looking very far for trouble. It usually knows where I am. Got a lot of speeding drunks tonight. I really hate being out on a bike at this hour. At least in the city. At any location. Nighttime on a bike is just dangerous, period. You got wildlife out on the side highways. You got drunken wildlife in town. At least if you're in a cage, you got some protection around you. We used to have a lot of deer out here in this area, and since Hurricane Harvey, I think they've all moved out. I haven't seen any out here, and I really don't want to see any tonight, but just remembering I'm always careful coming through here in the middle of the night, because you never know what's going to jump out in front of you. I haven't seen that in years now. Sorry, dude, I guess I can turn my bright off. Another day gone. Got out at barely dawn, coming back at midnight plus.